Alright, welcome back. Now, if you remember in the previous video where I did the shout outs, I was talking about this here Ford Ranger, with this here windshield wipers that was not working. It would work, but it would only work on the high speed. Low speed it wouldn't work. All the interval times it wouldn't work, and it would not park. So the wipers would not park when you try to turn it off. Alright, so I got out here and I started playing. Of course the thing is working, it started working yesterday and then it's working today. So I got the truck in the garage, so I'm going to see if I can aggravate the condition and try to bring this thing up. And so I was able to get this thing to act up. And before we go into that and tell you what I did, let's go over the wiring diagrams. We always need to go over that first so we can understand what we're working on. And we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll show you what I came up with and what we may try to do to repair this. So these are what I think might be the issue. Alright, so let's look at these diagrams first. Alright, let's quickly go over the wiring diagrams. You see this here very top box here is dashed out. This is the multifunction switch. This is the switch where you're going to operate the windshield wipers like low speed, high speed, and also the time interval. Alright, down in here, this is the electronic board. This is more or less the brains that's controlling the timing and anything that has to do with the low speed, whether it's low speed without the time, or if you have a time delay, you're also going to be using the low speed. You're not going to have the high speed when you're using the time delay. High speed is all by itself. Down here we have the windshield wiper motor. The windshield wiper motor has two windings. One's a low speed winding, which is right here. I don't know if you can see it on the video, but there's an L right here, and this one right here is a H. That's for high speed. We got a C right here. This is common. This is a common winding that's common to the low and high speed windings. Also internally inside the windshield wiper motor we have a park run switch. So when the wipers are up anywhere on the windshield, that means that this switch is going to be made from here to here. This will be the common terminal. This is the park position. Over here is the run position. So anywhere on the windshield, we're going to be made in this position. When we're in the park position, the switch is going to be made in this position as it's shown now, and it's going to be tied to ground. Alright, so basically, I don't want to go a whole lot into details of the electronics, but we'll kind of hit over the highlights. Alright, so if you're in the low speed, just say low speed only, then this here switch internally is going to move over to this position right here where it says low. And this switch over here is going to move over and it's going to go to this low position, but as you notice there is no wire connection made to this terminal here. Now up here on the very top, this whole line right here is a B plus line coming back, going through here, coming back through this fuse. So we have our supply volts, positive all the way across the top. So now that supply volts in the low speed is going to come down, go through this here low terminal, going to come down, and it's going to be supplying the power to this here electronic board. Over here, this one here, this only becomes active when you're in the interval time. So in this case, we're over on the low, there is no 12 volts coming down here. So at that point, what's going to happen is that if you look right over here, we're going to see that we have an output stage here. This output stage is going to be an op amp. The op amp is going to supply a positive volts. Positive volts is going to be supplied to this transistor. This transistor is going to turn on. This transistor turns on, it's going to close right here, just like a switch. And then this ground down here at the bottom, going through the switch, and it's going to be supplied to this side of the relay coil. Now the other side of the relay coil, it's coming up, of course it's got to be our 12 volts. There it is coming back from the fuse through this here splice. Now, once this relay coil is energized, this here contact is going to change state. Now this contact is going to switch from this position from here to there. Now B plus voltage is going to come through the diode, coming down through here, through the contact, comes down, and it's going to go through the low speed winding. And then the motor is going to run. Okay. Now, the same thing happens with the time delay. The only difference is that we're going to be in this position right here. So when we go into the using the time, this switch is going to switch to right here. Now we've lost the B plus at this point. However, on this switch, we switch over. Now you see INT, that's the interval time. That is going to put the B plus voltage down to right here. So now it knows that you want the time delay function. However, again, as mentioned before, it's only going to be for the low speed, which means it's going to have the same actuation, same setup. It's going to come down through here. The only difference is that this voltage is going to be pulsed depending on the time that you set, which is coming back from over here off of this here variable resistor and this fixed resistor. So varying this here resistance is going to vary the voltage coming in, which in turn is going to also vary the amount of time that you want. I suspect there's a capacitors in here. Now let's look at the high speed. High speed does not use anything here. Now on the high speed, then you're going to go from here and you're going to be over in this position. Okay? Now you're going to be going from here over to here. So now we're going to have the voltage comes down and it's going to go straight to the high speed winding. Now let's look at how the park position works. You turn your switch off up here. Now this is in the off position. So what's going to happen is you're going to go all the way back just like you see it right now. So no B plus is going to come down through here. No B plus is going to come down through here. So the wiper is still running. So how is it still running? Well, this up here is not going to be running because it doesn't have the supply volts. So what's going to happen is the voltage is going to come down through the B plus from here, going down, feeds in here, and now it's going to go through here. Remember, this switch is going to be made if we're anywhere in the run position. In other words, the wipers are not parked. So now it's going to come up through here, go up through here, back up through here, goes through that relay contact. This relay contact is in a de-energized state. It's going to come back down, and now we're going to go over to the low speed winding. So now when you get ready to park, it's going to be in a low speed. Then finally this here switch is going to come to a park position. At that point the B plus voltage is broken. Now we don't have a voltage back to the low speed winding. Now this here park switch being in this position in park is going to put a ground here. Now the ground is going to come up, goes over, comes through the relay contact, and in effect we're putting 0 volts over here on the low speed winding. So then of course the motor's going to stop. So now let's go and let me show you this electronic board. This electronic board is up under the dash, and so I'll point that out. So I'm thinking where my issue is at is I have probably a bad solder connection, because I was able to tap onto this board, tapping it, and while it was running I was able to make the wipers stop. I was only able to do that one time. And so what I'm thinking about is taking this out and we'll try to open it up, maybe see what we can find, solder connections, put it back, and hopefully we'll be done with this here problem. Alright guys, I'm up underneath the dash. I guess it's just to the right of the steering wheel. Now, this is hard. I don't even know if this thing is in focus, but hopefully so. But this right here, this beige part, that's where this electronic board is at. And then you can see the connector right there. Okay, so what I'm going to do, it's going to be tough to try to film under here, but I'm going to disconnect that connector. And then it looks like there's 2 bolts, one there, and then there's one back here at the back. I'm going to take these 2 bolts, and I think this thing will come out. Once I get it out, then I'll go ahead and I'll show you what we got. Okay, here is that electronic board. 2 screws held it. 7/32 inch socket will take care of that. Now it looks like, let me get there so you can see the connector. Connector pins look fine, no corrosion, anything like that. So like I said, I suspect we got an issue inside of here. Now it looks like that this here top can come off. It's just like these little notches here. Looks like we got 3 of them. So I'm going to work on that with a screwdriver and see if I can get this here top off. And I'll get back with you here in just a bit. Alright guys, we got this thing open. This here cover wasn't too bad. Just take your screwdriver, put in a notch, pry it out, and do that. You might have to put another screwdriver, hold it, and then do the other one. But these here 3 this will come out. Now this here whole assembly lifts up, and now we can see what's internally inside this thing. So here's our relay right there. And that's a good suspect right there. You know, the relay contact could be kind of burnt. I'm looking at the solder connections. I really don't see anything obvious, you know, where I can see there's an issue. But you know, while we have this thing out, I'm going to take a soldering iron. I'm going to just go ahead and, you know, reflow the solder on this here joints. Capacitors look good as far as, you know, there's no swelling on the top. Just so you guys might want to see, there's a part number. It's an Omron relay. Not a whole lot to it. I tell you what I'm going to do. I don't have a relay here. If I did, I would just go ahead and swap that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write this number down, make a note of it, and I'm going to go ahead, if I have another issue with this thing, I'm going to go ahead and order that relay. Right now I need to get the truck back. But while I have this apart, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to reheat these solder connections up. I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to just see what will happen. If I don't have an issue, I won't order the relay, but if I do, then I'm going to order a relay, and then I'm going to take this back out, and then we're going to replace that right there. Because that's more than likely. A lot of current, you know, about 3 amps or so for the wiper motor. It passes through the relay contact, and this thing is, you know, since '94, so we're looking at 23 years old that this here relay is.
Young.
Yeah. So there you go, guys. This way you can see what it looks like. So let me reheat it, and then I'll get back with you in the next shot. Alright guys, might get lucky on this. I was looking closer at these solder joints, and this one right here looks like a bad connection. I don't know how well you can see that one right there, but that looks like a bad solder connection, cold solder joint. So I'm going to definitely reheat that, and I'm going to touch up these others here. So I've already got the soldering iron. It's already ready. And I'll just show you what I'm doing. This will clean the tip. You just push it down in there. Then we come over here, do a final cleaning, brush it off, tin the iron, shake off the excess, and now let's get that one right off the bat. Let's heat it up. Let it reflow, let it go. And that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to heat up the joint, put some more solder in there, and just move on to the next one. And keep on going. So guys, when I get this done, I'll get back with you in the next shot here. Okay.
And for you women, this is my dining room table. It's not right, Mr. Terry.
Keep in mind, you see what I got all the stuff on. You can see that I got it on a piece of cardboard.
That's right.
So I'm not directly working on the table per se. Okay, all done. Let's put it back in the case. Well, I hope you guys can see. Let's put this thing back in there. Alright. And let's see, we got this here cover. Cover is going to go like this. Okay, so it's all back together. Oops, sorry guys. So it's all back together, so let's put it back into the truck here. Okay guys, I got the switch on, so right now you can see the wiper is in the off position, and of course the wipers are off. So let's try it and let's just see if this thing's going to work. So right now I'm going to push in I'm going to push this in, get some fluid up there. Should do 2 sweeps and stop and park. Okay, that looks good. So now let's go to the slow speed. So we have a time delay. This is going to be the longest time delay here. Sorry if this is not coming out too well, guys. Okay, so that looks good. And to save us a little time, I think the rest of them is going to be fine. So let me go to that speed. Still on the time delay. Yep. That's the fastest time delay. Notice it's all in a low speed, as I mentioned before. Whenever you're in a time delay, it does park. Now let's go down to the low speed. Now we should not have any time delay. There we go. And now let's go to the high speed. So right now, guys, it's working fine. So if it does act up again, I'll let you know. But we did see that one solder joint that was in definitely bad shape, so hopefully that was going to be our issue, and that was on a relay contact pin. Okay, so let me turn this thing off here, and it does park, and that's great. All right, guys, let me get this thing turned off here. Okay, that wraps this video up. You know, pretty cut and dry, not too much to it. Like I said, if I have any other issues with this, I'll let you know, and we'll pick it up again. But right now, it's working fine. You can't fix something that ain't broke. So, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like this and like to see more, be sure to click on the subscribe button, and that way you'll be notified of other videos, and we'll see you guys in the next one. You take care.